Hey guys, we're back with Model Talk.
This is Devon Blackerby.
And Nicole Nance. And yeah, we have kind of like an easy episode today that you guys voted for.
Yes, we're talking about Nicole's New York Fashion Week.
New York Fashion Week. Yay!
Because she's the one that went.
You can go next year.
I'll work on it.
It'll be fun.
Yes.
So Devon's gonna interview me about it? Ask me stuff.
Yeah.
Okay,
so,
cool.
New York Fashion Week, I think, is iconic with every model. So, I would say maybe start by saying, how'd you get there? Explain how you guys did it in that whole process.
So, the way that I got there, I was lucky to have been invited by Tulle On Lace, who used to be a designer here in Portland, who has since moved to Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
So she was showing in New York Fashion Week, and I'm kind of the face of her brand, and so
you're on a lot of her advertising, so
she needed me to, well, not needed me, she would have been fine without me, but wanted me to come, and of course I wanted to come, and so I went out specifically to do her show, and I also went out to kind of learn how you get into all the other shows and experience, it was really interesting. It was fun. We're walking around, going to eat or whatever, and you'll see, you can tell on their face a model that just came from a casting.
Yeah.
They're in all black, they have their model bag, and they just look defeated.
Yeah.
And, I mean, model castings are hard, so I guess everybody probably walks out feeling slightly defeated regardless. But it was a great experience. So that's how I got there, was thank you, Harriet, of Tulle On Lace. And yeah, I learned kind of how to go back in different ways.
Well, I think people don't realize, so there's kind of a couple different things. There's one that's just a designer specific show.
Yes.
So like
Chanel.
Or Stella McCartney will do New York Fashion Week, but it's just them. And so they set up their own personal runway. It's usually in their own location too. And so there's those. There's ones that have multiple designers, which are kind of like the week, like the New York Fashion, like the week. And then there's multiple stages separate from that.
Yeah.
So one stage might be showing 5, and then there might be showing 2. And that's more of a generic setup usually for a runway. It's not specific to the brand. When you look at a high fashion runway, sometimes you'll see I remember watching one where they built all these geodes in the middle, and these girls just did a little weaving walk around the geodes. That's specifically for them. They built it for them. Only one designer is walking. It's one collection.
Yeah.
Whereas, think of Project Runway when they show in New York Fashion Week. That stage is specifically set up for them.
Yeah.
And only the Project Runway people show. But that's a normal New York Fashion Week stage where it's multiple designers showing on one thing. Yeah. So you guys did that.
Multiple, yes.
Where there's multiple and you walked on one stage.
Yes.
With a couple other people. Where were you in the lineup?
We were last. So I actually got to close the show.
Nice.
Yeah, I got to close the show for Harriet. It meant a lot to me because she kind of gave me a lot of opportunities when I first started out here. And, excuse me, we just kind of became really good friends and on top of working together. And yeah, so it meant a lot to be there and all of that. And by closing it, I got to, walked out with her in the final lineup. And there's a really cute picture that somebody caught where, so Harriet threw me totally off guard because I thought we were just walking in a line. Yeah. And she totally should have done this. She stopped to get her photo. Yeah. But I was still walking behind her. And so I kind of paused and just looked at her really proud of her because I was. And she was still standing there getting her photo. And so I just sort of went around her and then walked back because I wasn't sure what else to do. But there was a cute little picture where you see me with a little proud face and she's beaming. So yeah, it was awesome. And we got to, see a bunch of other designers and it was cool.
Do you want to explain your backstage area? Because you guys brought a makeup team.
Yeah, so
she brought her own team.
Yeah.
Which normally a show will provide a team.
There was a team provided there, yes. They didn't really have too many people on the team. I'm really glad Harriet brought people. She brought we had Megan Blake, Ariana Garcia, we had Annie Saavedra, Cece Mendoza was there, and oh gosh, don't tell me I'm forgetting. No, I'm not forgetting somebody. That was, those were our makeup artists. Okay. And anyways, so they just sort of set up and did our makeup amongst the other makeup artists, and it was kind of a little bit awkward because we were the only people that brought
a team.
So then there was like this tension of like, well, you're not on the team, and they're like, yeah, but we're here doing makeup, and so give us a table space and whatnot. But I was really glad that she did, because they've all worked with her for a long time. And
what was your call time? Like, how long were you there?
Let's see. What time did we have to be there? I think we got there at like 3.
Okay, what time did your show start?
7.
Okay, that's not bad. Yeah. Not bad at all. You all only wore one thing, correct? I don't remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
We all wore only one thing. No, the show was not at 7. It was totally earlier. It was a Sunday.
Like 5? That'd be
I think
really
it started
tight.
at 4:30.
Oh, geez.
So I think that means we got there. I can't remember. It wasn't that.
Was it like a longer day though? Like, were you there for like I guess what I'm saying is, if you showed up at 2, did you leave at like 6? Did you leave at like 10? Like,
it was reasonable.
It was reasonable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It didn't feel any longer or more stressful. Like,
because I'd say most shows where you're walking for multiple people, it's at least like a 6 to 8 hour day. Yeah. So it wasn't like that.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. And like, there were still models in our lineup getting hair and makeup done down pretty close to the like 15-minute mark to get dressed. So it was the right amount of time. There was a Starbucks right there that we got stuff at beforehand, which is nice.
How would you describe the backstage? Was it really organized?
And no.
No.
This particular show, like, one of the designers, the majority of their models, from what we could tell, were all personal models. So
everyone like brought their own people in a sense?
For this. And so typically when you hear personal model, it's kind of like, okay, like, no backstage etiquette really. There's nothing wrong with being excited, but you can't be like screaming and stuff backstage, and like, it's not all about you. And there was a lot.
So a lot of that.
So it was like the personal models. But other than that, I mean, it was pretty calm. Just chaotic in terms of runway, and not really having it well thought out with tables for the hair and makeup people. But it was good. We kind of just kept to ourselves and hung out. And
she didn't bring all her models. She had a couple models that crossed over from like the general pool, or did she bring her own people? So
she brought her own people, except for 2. We actually had a model that was on America's Next Top Model.
That's cool.
In our lineup for Harriet. Which, it was funny, like, I kept looking at her and I was like, I know you, like, and I kept thinking, like, you're from America's Next Top Model. And then she was Victoria. I forget which season. So that was kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Would you say, do you know what stage you're on? Because I know there's multiple. Like, where was your location?
It's so funny. I meant to look this up right before this started because I could never remember the name of it. But let me look it up really quick. We were in what's called the financial district.
Okay.
So, wrong name. Anyways, the Fashion Week is like spread out all throughout the city. And so this was kind of southern Manhattan, lower Manhattan.
Okay.
Where is I can't believe that I like don't remember it. I don't know. Ask me another question and I will find it. I feel so stupid. It was a ballroom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was it full? Like, was there a good crowd? Yeah, the night before the show, supposedly Khloe Kardashian was at that one in the audience. That's cool.
Gosh, I can't remember. I can't believe I don't remember the name. That's stupid.
I guess I don't know. I should have looked, like, how many stages there are. I have to think there is at least 3 stages for New York Fashion Week. At least of the ones that are, like, the communal showing multiple.
Yeah.
And then people who commission their own, that's, like, a different level.
But, that's different.
Because I think with, like, maybe it's Paris. It looks like it's all in the one spot. So they kind of keep it at one venue. But New York, I know it gets spread out.
I mean, even in Paris, I know they have multiple ones. But, so for example, in our, like, crew, in our Airbnb, we had Jessica Boyle, who is a model from Seattle who just recently relocated to New York. And she's done New York Fashion Week before. and she was walking in different shows, and she was at multiple venues. So
it's gotta be a pandy.
And at multiple times of the day. So she had like a morning one.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I think you think of most runway. That's completely different. I'd say most runways on the West Coast are evening.
Yeah.
Specifically, like with Seattle and LA Fashion Week, I know are both in the evening.
One thing that was different was like they didn't really do after parties at the runway.
Oh, they go somewhere else.
Yeah, it was like pretty quick. Everybody was out. And I don't even necessarily know that they went somewhere else. It was like everyone just pieced out really quickly.
That's funny.
But I guess, too, it's because it's not necessarily your community. Like, these models are from everywhere. You don't know a lot of the people. Maybe. But we had a Seattle model that was in the show the night before us at our venue, Anato.
Oh, cool.
So that was like small world experience. It was cool, but
yeah. Were you guys the only like West Coast people besides a couple of the Seattle people? Like, would you say most of the models were like New York based models that were in the other pools or whatever? Yeah.
I think so. I think one of the models in our lineup came up from Atlanta.
I could see that.
Yeah.
East Coast. Atlanta's like a good city for the arts, so I could see it being like a thriving fashion community there.
Yeah, it's big for movies and stuff, so yeah, I felt like we were maybe...
What'd you wear? Tell the people.
Oh, I wore... So Harriet made... One thing I love about Harriet is she always wants to put her models in something they've, like, never worn before. So she will creep your Instagram.
Yeah.
And so one time she made me, like, a one-sleeved gown because she was like, I went through all your pictures and you don't have any pictures in a one-sleeve gown. And so what she made me was... It's like a floor length, like just sequin gold gown that had like longer sleeves on it. Kind of, it was so pretty. It was like really dreamy.
It's on our Instagram too.
Yeah, it's on the Instagram. And it was sheer, but double lined. She double lined it, and so it was just like, I was gold. I loved it.
I feel like that was the theme watching all your pictures. You guys, that was very like gold lace, almost like French, like Versailles. Like that's very because the dress that like Nilani wore was also that. Like it seemed to be the theme was like golden lace, like very rich, very luxe. Would you say that like how many other designers showed the day that you guys walked? Like in that same venue with you? 5? Would you say, I feel like you had, from what I saw, like the most like gowns. Did anyone, what were the other like styles?
So it was kind of a mishmash. And now actually that I'm thinking about it, Harriet did not end up showing last because some, like, I guess big time bathing suit company at the last minute joined and they wanted last. I forgot about that.
Of course they want.
But anyways.
You want to close.
Yeah. So whatever. There was a bikini line. There was, like, I'm not going to say this designer's name, although it would not be hard to find if, like, you snooped a bit. But man, one of the designers in this show, it was interesting. Like,
like attitude or like, what do you mean?
There was, like, no clothing. It was like
just nude?
No, oh god, I'm just gonna say it. It was like really poorly done, like the BDSM fashion, the holsters, and it was that plus maybe a little bit of like rave girl, but it, in my opinion, I was like, oh, you could have done it better, and I didn't understand it.
Interesting.
But then there were other gown designers. Okay. I would definitely say that Harriet's were the most, like, luxury. Yeah.
Did you have to do any, like, little... Well, I guess you said everyone left, so there was no real, like, buying hour after...
No.
Not a buying hour, but where, like, people will come up to the designer and you'll stay in garment so that, like, press can come look at it or something like that.
So, yeah, we did do that. And actually, the way that went down was super fun. So, where this ballroom... I think, was located, the streets are kind of closed off.
Oh, chill.
And so we all got to go out, and they had a bunch of photographers placed around. And so they'd walk up to you and they'd like take your photo, you'd exchange information, they'd post it on their Instagram. So that was super fun. We're still like all sitting there waiting for our like Getty images to come out.
You guys did do one giant group shoot. That looked really cool. Like,
we did the giant.
It was group, and then there was like you all had different locations, but it seemed to be all around the same area.
In the runway gowns?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like I saw some people get up on like statues. Like it looked really cool.
Yeah, I think
that was that directly after the show?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
We just walked right out, and that's what we did. And like it was super cool. I think Ashley Elizabeth and Amber Nicotra got up in the back of like a box truck.
Oh, cool.
In their gowns.
Nice.
It was super cool.
Yeah.
So that was fun. You made connections with other photographers and got really cool pictures out of it. Mm-hmm. And we did get a bunch of group shots with it. We had other shoots outside of that, but yeah. And then you had to get out as fast as possible.
Yes. I know that you went because you got invited, but like, did you hear anything about the other girls who maybe were in the pool, like what they're getting paid, if they're getting paid? Like, I'm just wondering what the average would be. Because to be honest with you, things are normally priced much higher than what we are used to in the Pacific Northwest. Like even LA Fashion Week, I got quota for that one time, and it was like $300 for a whole day, and I was like, this is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it ranges. It varies.
It depends on the stage, too.
Yeah. Yeah. 200 and up.
It's pretty good.
And then with it
pretty good for like maybe a 4-hour day, first off. Like,
and for being New York too, like if you are obviously a more experienced model or you're famous or whatever, you have your own rates and that's what they pay. But yeah. It's decent. I mean, and if you get enough shows during the week.
They feed you at all?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Like, so pretty minimal.
They also said we couldn't bring food, which was bullshit, and we did anyways. And because everybody else did. I was like, how can you, like, it was like no water, no. I was like, mm-mm.
You have to bring
I know. I often wonder, like, if places do that, they make it so harsh so that people don't go crazy and, like, bring pizza and...
I mean, I could see that,
yeah.
I guess.
We didn't get in trouble for it.
Yeah. You need water. Sorry. What would you say, like, some of the biggest differences were? Like, if you compared it... Fashion Next likes to say that they're like Fashion Week. So compare it to that.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty comparable.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I think, like, what would differences be? I mean, Fashion X does the big after party, but there's probably other shows that do big after parties.
I would think shows where it's a designer exclusive show, they would do more of an after party.
So there was a Christian Siriano industry party that you could, like, buy tickets for. I didn't know about stuff like this.
You have to buy tickets?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess,
but I mean, it's...
How much were they?
I didn't look.
Okay.
But
I would have done it for Christiana.
I would have too. I just didn't even know about it until it was happening. But yeah, I would say Fashion X was pretty comparable to it.
That's cool.
I mean, I'm trying to think, like, at least the show that we did, I'm trying to think of, like, backstage pictures too that I saw of other people who were there and like what the backstages looked like.
So is it actually, I think you say New York Fashion Week, is is it actually a week or is it longer? Like, are shows running for maybe like more than a week?
I think it's like 8 or 9 days.
Okay.
Solid, yeah. And there were a couple other...
And there's shows every day at multiple places.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Because one of the big things about Fashion Week that's always joked about, like with Anna Wintour.
Yeah.
I was listening to this podcast and they were talking about, like, she has this one pair of heels in multiple colors. They're like low kitten heels that she wears for Fashion Week because she has to book it between shows because they are so close together.
I could see that.
And I'm sure plenty of shows will hold it for her, but we had a Team Ryan model out there too, Kayla Tatum.
Oh yeah, heck yeah.
I asked her about it. Oh,
Kayla's walked in New York Fashion Week before too.
Yeah, I think she said she had 7 shows. I could be wrong, but
she did a lot.
Yeah,
I saw it on her Insta.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's cool.
Well, it's fun, and yeah, I would say it's fairly similar. I'm trying to think, like, most of them, I've never done Fade to Light, but if it's similar to Fashion Next,
it's more theatrical.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess I'm thinking like backstage. I think
it's similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, and then too, what I learned, like, all of the shows are super different. So Fade to Light is like a really intimate one.
Yes.
But
people can reach out and touch you.
That show is, they're not supposed to. Don't do that if you go to Facebook.
Don't touch me, but you can.
It's like a haunted house.
Yeah.
If you touch a model, they can kick the shit out of you. Just kidding. Okay, sorry. I don't speak for Food Delight. But that's like, I could totally see that. All of the shows are so different there. Trying to think too, like Couture and Cars. It was felt similar.
I would almost compare it to Contouring Cars from what I saw with your things. Was it a long runway?
No. It was a U shape, which I hate.
But you get multiple camera angles.
Yeah, but you don't get your stride unless it's like a very long one, and then it's kind of like
you don't get to show the walk as much. When it's like a stick, it's up and down. You show your walk.
Yeah, and I personally get much better runway images like while I'm mid-step up to my pose.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so when I can't, like, get into the stride, there's not that, like, nice window of time to be like, okay, get your walking picture or whatever.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But, this is not my favorite. Couture and Cars I loved because you don't stop at all. And I still feel like they had so many cameras everywhere.
To be honest, speaking for specifically designer exclusive shows, most of the time you don't stop. Like, from watching footage from a lot of those, if you do, it's very short. Like, you don't really hold it, but a lot of them go at like kind of a fast pace, and the models are not necessarily doing like a walk, they're just doing like a fast walk.
New York Fashion Week models walk really fast.
Yes, they do.
That's why you have to be in shape to be a model.
I think
if you have a bunch
LA.
of changes, I
remember when I casted in LA, they were like, you need to walk quicker.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how they like it here. They like it faster.
And some of them are long. Like, if you watched at all Christian Siriano's show this year. Like,
that was long.
Yeah, it was on the ground. So there was no raised platform. And it was through rooms and... Excuse me, I have a cold, and so I feel
Nicole's
gross.
dying.
I'm dying.
It's fine.
But it's fine. Like, New York Fashion Week's in the book. I can die happy.
Yeah.
But no, I want to go back next year. I would like to go out early and audition and do all of that stuff now that I have a better understanding of how it all goes down.
Yeah, once you get in, you can figure it out more.
I made some connections that I'll hold on to, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. What was your favorite part? Did you have... Well, I know you guys were out there for a while, so it wasn't just one day. You did like 2 weeks?
So we were in New York for a week, and then I went down. I took the train down to Pittsburgh for a week.
Okay.
So I was gone for 2. But, we did a photo shoot in Tulle On Lace's, like, classic tulle skirts. She does, like, the perfect tutu skirt.
Yeah.
She has, like, this mathematical equation where they don't wrinkle. They always fall perfectly.
That's cool.
So we did, like, a Sex and the City style.
I saw it. It looked
with
cool.
my, like, denim jackets that I make, and it was fun. And then I stayed an extra day, and I did a photo shoot with Jethro Gaines, and then his assistant, Cassidy Walker, who's actually in, is it Tri-Cities, Washington? Is that a place?
I think so. Yeah.
That's where she was from, which was funny. We spent the day in, like, Bryant Park.
That's cool.
So I stayed an extra day, and then I came back down to Pittsburgh. And yeah, it was fun.
Right.
I love New York City. I grew up going there as a kid. My aunt lived in Manhattan, and so it's just like a 6-hour drive from Pittsburgh. So we would just drive up. And so it was fun being back and being, like, over 21, and... You know, we stayed in a really good spot. Like, we could walk to Times Square.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that was nice.
I've only been once, but I liked it.
I like it.
It's been a long time.
I love it. I love New York.
Okay. Obsession.
Obsessions.
Got one? I need to think of one.
I do too. Obsessions. I don't want to have to cut this part out. Jeez. Well, okay. So fall is coming.
Fall is here in essence.
Yeah. I don't get like spring. What is it? Spring cleaning, like that.
You get fall cleaning?
I get like fall purge. I'm like, I want to clear out my closets because sweaters take up a lot of room. So I just like want.
Love a good sweater.
I'm like on this whole thing right now that this will be my obsession.
Cleaning.
Purging stuff. Like, I'm trying to be more environmentally aware, and I have to do things in kind of like chunks. And so right now, something that I can do reasonably without, like, you know, when you overcommit and then you're like, screw this, I'm just not going to do it.
Yes.
So I'm baby stepping it. And the whole, like, Marie Kondo idea of like clearing out so you can actually see your stuff.
I hate that idea. Sorry.
I love stuff. I just want to make sure like that I can see the stuff that I actually really like. So I'm working on getting rid of stuff that I don't even know how to explain. I'm just purging.
I don't think it's bad. The method is bad to do.
I don't do it like she does.
No, I don't think her method is bad if you're really, one, if you're a minimalist,
yes,
so you'll be fine. Two, if you do just like tend to be sentimental or hold on to things and you haven't worn it in like 2 years, I totally understand like second-handing it and all that jazz. But to me, someone who's speaking from a retail standpoint, we saw that kill our business and then re-thrive it because people pushed everything down to like 20 items and then they got bored. Yeah. And so then they re-shop.
Which is not good for the environment.
I mean, well, you just buy sustainably made things.
Well, yeah. But but you know that's not what they're doing.
No.
For the most part.
Or you wait to buy the more expensive thing because most of the time... I don't think people realize, but things that are like designer are usually made really well.
Oh, yeah.
And they're actually becoming much more aware of the footprint they make. So, and yes, sometimes it's real fur, but real fur...
Oh, man, this debate.
So, in theory, getting real fur is not good, right?
In theory.
You're hurting an animal, you know.
Real fur in terms of farmed animals specifically for their fur.
Unless it's like a sheep, because...
Technically,
you don't have to kill a sheep. You just
how do we word this? Inhumanely kept animals to obtain their fur.
Yes, that is bad, and it can cause environmental issues. But faux fur is often made out of things that are synthetic or considered. There's a better word for it because I did study fabric, but it's like partially synthetic and partially organic. There's a different word for that. So. Like, perfect example. I have a couple things that are fake fur, and they're all acrylic. Acrylic is just, like, essentially plastic. Yeah. And it, like, that's not an amazing way to describe it, but, like, so, yes, I'm not hurting an animal, which does hurt the environment by farming and keeping them, but I'm also not helping because it's made out of something. Yeah. So, real fur sometimes, or you know what? I know a lot of people, in their mind, they get around it by buying vintage fur. Because technically, that's been gone for a while.
Yeah.
And I can't fix that now.
No, like, I think that's gone. You need to, like, if you're going to wear, like, long fur coats, take fucking care of them so that they last forever.
Yeah, or, like, wool. Wool is technically fur, but, like, there's a way to get it in not a... Like, anything that's sheep-based... Sometimes it is really inhumane, but a lot of like sheep, wool, lamb, cashmere, a lot of times they're just shaving them. And like most of the time...
as long as it's humane. I mean...
Most of the time they're handled well, depending on the company, but most of the time it's handled well and you're just shaving it. You don't have to kill it a lot of the time. There are some you do.
Here's my thing. Like, if we kill the environment, we kill the animals. So... We're killing everything. Like, what do you... Like, if you're wearing pleather, and you're wearing faux fur, and you're wearing synthetic materials, but you want to save the animals by not eating them, not using their fur, guess what? What you're wearing and what you're choosing to buy over that leather that will biodegrade versus your pleather is going to kill the animals. And you could make this argument from, like, a different standpoint where you say, like, if you're saving the animals, you're helping the environment, and so on and so forth. From what I have researched and my opinion on it that I have formed over looking a lot into it, I think that we just need to get rid of the industrial side of it all.
If you're going to go synthetic, you just have to go the correct way. Yeah. Because there's a way to do synthetic in a not as terrible way or a very, like, conscious way. Or, like, perfect example. Polyester is like a mixture of synthetic and I believe it does have some actual natural fibers in it.
Doesn't it have some cotton in it?
Yes.
Okay.
But you can recycle it and constantly reuse it because it's so like it's pretty durable. So like perfect example, H&M right now is doing their whole like sustainability collection, which H&M is fast fashion, so like okay, let me see prove it first.
Have your conscious collection for more than a month before you put new inventory in it and then we'll talk.
So one of the things they are really toting was like recycled polyester, which I agree with because that's honestly it's really easy and it's not super expensive and it is better because you're just recycling this material that is kind of hard. It's much easier to make materials out of plastic now, which is a way to recycle clothing because if you spin it into a fiber then it is a little easier, like it will eventually break down.
So you're like thinning out plastic, which makes it break down faster.
Yeah, you're like spinning it into a fiber. So, I don't know. It's just
I guess my, like, intensity about it isn't that synthetic material is necessarily bad. I guess when it just comes down to the argument of, I want to save the environment by saving the animals, but I'm going to wear this acrylic fur and then throw it away in 5 months because it's poorly made. Or I'm going to vintage shop this fur or buy this impeccably made coat from somewhere that humanely treats their animals that they get the fur from. Like, I have now completely lost the train of my thought. But in that argument of, like, which is better.
Yeah.
But
it's a constant textiles argument, too.
And you've studied it.
As someone who studies it, it's, like, very hard. Like, because I know Project Runway now is, like, we are a no fur show, which I agree with because
you can't promote
it's very hard to tell if your fur is farmed correctly.
Yes.
To be honest, it's so easy for people to slip it in as like, yes, it was fine. So it is hard to tell. So I understand taking away that risk is really good because what if you are getting it from like a sheep that was kept in like a pen that was as big as the sheep, so it just stood there and like gained weight and got fur and then it died.
And their audience too isn't all fashion people. So they could be looking at that using fur and think it's fine to slaughter animals for fur or in inhumane ways.
Also, there are mixtures of like some that is like it's a natural fiber that can act like a fur. Like you take like a cotton or you take like a wool and then you mix it with another thing that's synthetic that'll help hold moisture away or hold like you can mix and match it and then it's not really a fur. So like there's ways to get around it. Also, fun fact: if you ship fur in from the to the U.S., it has to go through fisheries and wildlife. It has to get approved before you can get it.
For diseases and stuff, probably.
I think and also for legal reasons, too. Like for extinction purposes and like people think
that's good then.
List. So it is monitored. It does have to be monitored if it's getting shipped to the U.S. Yeah. It goes through customs and borders with fish, wildland and fishery. I know it has to. We had to study that. It has to go through them. So there is that.
And then there's also the argument of like animal byproduct. Is that okay if you want to like you don't want to go buy a new leather purse, but what if you know that like these shoes are made by the hunter that like so in Pennsylvania like the deer would overtake like the population of deer would overrun it and you would have deer getting killed by cars. You would have
a lot of hunting. A lot of hunting is the funds for that, I know specifically with a lot of things, is used then to put back into like wildland protections. And that's why it's only seasonal. That's why they only let hunting in a certain season like to help with population.
And like so my brother deer hunts and he uses he takes it to a butcher. They use the pelt. They use the entire thing, turns it into jerky. Yeah. It gets donated to like homeless shelters, like jerky and stuff and whatever. So, I've heard a lot of really compelling arguments on both sides from various designers that I really respect. And I just kind of lean towards, like, there's nothing wrong with vintage fur.
Vintage fur has been dead for a long time.
Do your research.
You can't.
How did we start talking about this?
Marie Kondo.
Oh, okay. I was like, we were talking about New York fashion.
Okay. I don't know what my obsession is.
Oh, it was my obsession. Wow.
I guess mine, I like textile science, what we just got into. I think it's very fascinating, specifically when, and in my degree field, I did not get to do this, but if you go into material sciences, you get to do all the labs where you figure out how to tell if someone's lying. Do you know about a fabric? Oh. So you get to light stuff on fire. Like that's how fun. You get to put, there's this machine, I forget what it's called, but it's how they check if fabric's going to catch on something for like pilling and if it's going to catch, like if a string is going to snag. So they put it on like a track and then they take like a medieval mace and just throw it on it constantly to see if it pulls anything off.
My gosh, that's
so
funny.
It's just kind of fun. Or it's
almost like blood spatter analysis,
it's super fun.
But on fabric.
Or like to check if something specifically with like we're just going down textiles hole, but like with kids' children.
Kids' children.
Thank you. with children's clothing, there's really strict flammability laws. You have to be really careful with that, specifically with kids' pajamas. So there's a way they'll take a swatch and like stretch it and then they'll just like light it on fire, and then they'll like test how long it holds fire, and it's supposed to like the blankets that like firefighters will wrap you around. Those are made out of wool because wool is a natural extinguisher of fire.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that.
So you have to like test certain fabrics for flammability. Like adult clothing doesn't have to hit it as hard as children's clothing.
I could see that.
So it's interesting how they just like constantly
like
or light things on fire, or how they test for like sweating. And the word for sweating is thrown around so differently because it's fashion people. So like this one guy was like, "My woman doesn't sweat; she perspires." And I was like,
"Glistens."
Sure, like okay. And so that's my obsession. Fabric, cool.
We should have a guest on to talk about that in more fabric. Like detail, like somebody who has experience in the whole textile industry and what it does with the environment. And
sure, yeah.
I mean, it's all related to modeling.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
Okay,
yay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.